So it's no secret that most Houston Rockets fans want Christian Wood gone from the team. And it makes sense because this season alone, he definitely hasn't been playing to the extent he was, last season, averaging around 21 and 10. But he still is an all-star caliber player. I won't lie to you. He does have that talent to be an all-star caliber player. I think it's more of him not being able to play some great interior defense and being a pretty below average defender. And, most Houston Rockets fans, they're high on Alperen Şengün, our rookie coming out of this draft alongside Jalen Green, Garuba, and Josh Christopher. Most Houston Rockets fans, they want to ride out with the young guys, and it makes a lot of sense because Şengün showed a lot of promise in his rookie year, and I think he could be a good starter. And depending who the Rockets get with their basically top 5 pick, because, their pick can't land outside of the top 5, whoever they get, they can pair alongside Şengün at the 4 or the 3 and kind of just run out with that. And Christian would probably be the odd man out, so I think they look for some trade packages, and the Dallas Mavericks could be a suitor for Christian Wood. We're going to go over a trade package here talking about Christian Wood to the Dallas Mavericks and overall why Christian Wood would make sense alongside Luka Doncic. So what's up? I'm Jae'sean. If you like the video, drop a like below, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And let's get into the video. So we'll start off with Christian Wood stats. They're pretty decent, for probably the worst team in the league, the Rockets. 18 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. On around 50% from the field and 39% from 3. He's a great three-point shooter. I mean, honestly, one of the more underrated big men in the league. Great stretch five right there at around 6'9", 214 pounds. Played the center. Now, I think that's really the biggest reason why he's a really horrible interior defender. He's 6'9", 214 pounds, gets bullied by bigger centers like Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Joel. So it makes sense, but at the same time, Christian Wood kind of held his own. He grabbed a lot of double-doubles this season and averaged around 18 and 10. So I would take it with a grain of salt. I mean, Christian Wood, he's still a great player, don't get me wrong, but on the Houston Rockets alone, I don't really see him here moving forward. He's around 26 years old. He's in his prime, essentially, and the Rockets aren't really in a position to win right now. So trade him to a contender or a playoff contender like the Dallas Mavericks and get some value back for Christian Wood. Now, I will say that his value isn't too high at the moment because of some stuff that happened this year. Obviously, not playing, I want to say, it was a game around like March or February where he didn't play the second half of the game. That was the same game where KPJ left the arena, so I'd assume that his trade value isn't all that high right now, being that he had a pretty low season this season compared to last season, and expectations weren't as high as it would be this season. So we'll go over the trade package. I got 2 trade packages here you guys can let me know about, but this is the first one. So the Houston Rockets received Davis Bertans, Josh Green, and a 2025 first-round pick from Dallas, and the Dallas Mavericks received Christian Wood. So I know a lot of Houston Rockets fans would not like this, as Bertans, he's making a hefty bag for just basically sitting on the bench. Josh Green, he's a pretty interesting player, a second-year player from the Dallas Mavericks. He's shown some promise, especially in the Jazz series. He showed some flashes of playing some great defense, but nothing, too high level at the offense category right there. So I think Josh Green, he'd be a pretty interesting player for the Rockets. Nothing too amazing, kind of like a role player off the bench, but nonetheless, you are getting a 21-year-old, a first-round pick from Dallas, and, essentially their Davis Bertans. So the way I see it is that the reason the Houston Rockets make this move is that Christian Wood, he's going into the last year of his deal, making around $13 million in the last year. So they trade him, get some value for him, because he still has some value being a pretty cheap player and, averaging a double-double. You can get a young player in Josh Green and a 2025 first-round pick from Dallas, which probably won't be that good because Luka Doncic, he's one of the best players in the league. And by that time, the Dallas Mavericks are probably going to be building a great team around him. But they do add on to their draft capital here. They're going to get rid of Christian Wood, so it'll open up some more minutes for the young guys like Josh Christopher, Usman Garuba off the bench. And looking at it right now, the Rockets are still going to be pretty bad here next season, considering that they do get a top 3 pick, hopefully getting Chet, Jabari, or Paolo. If they do get a top 3 pick, I think they would be a little bit better than this season. But nonetheless, I think it's still a very young team, so it's going to take them some time to really just grow into the team and overall just get associated with each other. But that's one of the trade packages. Now, the second one would be even worse than the first one, honestly. Dwight Powell and Josh Green for Christian Wood. Now, the reason I like the first one is because obviously adding on to the draft capital, but this one alone, we don't really need Dwight Powell. He's a little bit on the older side. I want to say he's around like 30 years old, so there's not really a point to bring in another center. Now, off the bench, I guess, because we don't really have a backup center. We have I guess Usman Garuba, Bruno Fernando, but they're not really center positions, true centers right there. So I would really take the first one just to get rid of Christian Wood's contract. Now, looking around the league at who would take Christian Wood, I mean, the Lakers will also be a pretty interesting destination. They could trade John Wall, Eric Gordon, and Christian Wood around, maybe like around those three players for probably like Russ and some other players. I'm not too sure. Maybe some first round picks. It'd be very interesting, you know, Christian Wood and AD. I think it would work out pretty well because both can pretty much stretch the floor, and you know, AD covers for Christian Wood on defense. So you can run Christian Wood at the 4, AD at the 5, or you can, you know, vice versa that. And overall, I think it would be a pretty offensive heavy duo right there. So around the league, I mean, not really too many teams are going to be buying for Christian Wood. I mean, I know the Heat were linked to Christian Wood at the trade deadline. They were trying to trade for him. Nothing happened though. But I don't know. The fit beside Bam is definitely interesting because they already have PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Bam. So I don't really know how Christian Wood fits in there. But at the same time, I think he really helps them a lot on the perimeter and just overall three-point shooting, which they definitely need. So I don't know. Let me guys know what you guys think about Christian Wood's future moving on with the Houston Rockets. I think his run here in Houston ends pretty soon. I mean, he had a pretty great run. Obviously coming in when James Harden was going to leave, and they were looking like the best duo before Harden left. I really wish they stayed together, man. I mean, looking at him and Embiid right now kind of would have been the same thing with Christian Wood, but I think Christian Wood's a better lob threat because he always rolls to the rim, you know, always looking for a lob. Not too much this season, obviously, because I think he was a little bit more of a slip man slash, you know, ball heavy guy, you know, handling the ball. But overall, I mean, Christian Wood's still one of the more underrated centers in the league, and quite honestly, he should have some trade value going into the last year of his deal, kind of just getting whatever team can buy for him, I guess, because he's going to be expiring. So I don't know. He's going to be interesting. I think he definitely rides out the last year of his deal, but we'll see. Hopefully the Rockets can trade Christian Wood for some draft capital. Hopefully Rafael Stone makes some good moves. And go Rockets. This is the video. I'm GDC. I'm out. Peace.